the ones that took the leap and bought the first book when nobody knew about me as an author, and there were no reviews out, no blogs, no prices, no recognition, and you just bought the book because you cared about me, and that I will never forget, and I'm so thankful. Thank you very much. And tonight I'm going to be very brief. I'm not going to read from a book. I think that we all had a very trying week, no matter where you stand. And I'm gonna try not to cry. I just wanna tell you, I just wanna pass on to you a message of love and hope, which I think is very much needed now. When I started writing the books in 2010, I didn't know that I was writing a book, or even less 4 or 6. I was just incredibly happy, so happy that I couldn't keep it all inside, and so I started writing as I used to do when I was a kid, to vent. And then I realized that whatever I was writing didn't make any sense, and I needed to go back and talk about the challenges that I had to face in order to become that happy. And then I got stuck, and I realized that I had to go back again to that one very important moment in my life when I put my life in a suitcase, left my family in Italy, and moved to the United States. And then I realized that that didn't make sense either. I had to talk about why I had left. And so I kept going back and back and back, and I ended up talking about my childhood. And I had no idea why. I just put it all on paper and wrote it all out. And at this point, I had no idea that anyone ever was going to read it. And so I pretty much aired out all the dirty laundry and talked about all the things that I was ashamed about, all the things that I carried with me, and I didn't even know I was carrying with me, things that I thought I had forgotten for so long. And I felt better. I felt a lot better. And after I wrote 4 books, my best friend Seth and my husband read them, and he read them very eagerly, and he loved them, and he talked to me and said, I really think you should share these books. I think that people need to hear about what you have to say. And I was like, are you kidding me? It was very embarrassing for me because they were very personal. So I fictionalized the books and I changed names, and I went to a writer's group. A writer's group, actually some members are here tonight, and we became really close friends because they got to know me on a very intimate level. And I got to connect to them in a way that is very rare to connect with other human beings. And I think that's what we forgot this week, is that to connect with other human beings, we need to be honest about ourselves first. And so I talked, and I read about being an abused child, I read about divorced parents, I read about teen pregnancy and eating disorders and self-cutting and depression, and some of these things, being assaulted. Some of these things were very personal. Some of these things were, or had happened to people that are very close to me. Either way, they felt very personal to me. And what happened as I shared these things, were that the people around me shared back. And incredibly, most of the women around me, as it turns out, have been assaulted in their life. I would say 3 out of 5. And I don't know if it's because of the company I keep, but I really think that it's a lot more pervasive than we think. A lot of my friends have been molested as children, boys and girls alike, a lot more than one would think. And in this light, you might wonder, okay, now I read the reviews on Amazon, and the books have been doing really well, and what you read is, these books are hysterical, they're so funny, I couldn't stop laughing. And you're like, okay, this is not very funny, what you're talking about. And I think that humor is the biggest weapon we have against the ugliness of life. And I realized in writing the books that facing the things that I was ashamed of made me stronger. Being vulnerable allowed me to realize that I had swept some things under the carpet. This seems particularly relevant in this moment in history when, as a country, I realize we swept a lot of things under the carpet, and now they're all coming out. And the general reaction, no matter where you're standing, is anger. And I can tell you that anger happens when you don't share and when you're not honest, when you bottle things inside, and we're all hurt for different reasons. You don't have to be a molested child to be hurt. And we attack each other. It's very easy to blame somebody else for your unhappiness, but somebody else is not gonna make you happy, even less so if you hurt them. So if vulnerability, I think, is my greatest act of courage, and I think is the greatest act of courage you can do for yourself. The greatest act of cowardice is to bash on your neighbor, even more so when people are vulnerable and weak. I think I, as an immigrant, am very proud to be in this country, and I'm not a citizen, by the way. And I think that everybody should remember that disagreeing is great because it brings to growth, but disagreeing can be done in a civil way. And this country is called the United States, not the divided states. And this country is about the pursuit of happiness, the right to the pursuit of happiness. As long as someone is not hurting somebody else, they should have a right to be happy. And this is what my books talk about, is trying really hard to be happy, making all possible mistakes, apparently. Not like I was trying, but that's the way it happened. And it's about equality for all of us that live in this country, one way or the other. On the bright side, Leda's adventures are not over. I'm overwhelmed and incredibly happy that this actually came to be. And you can see in the pictures behind me everything that has happened in this crazy year, and the adventures that we've been through, and some of you have been with me the whole way. And it's been really a roller coaster, a lot of work, a lot of success, and it started here in Buffalo thanks to you guys, and thanks to your support and your reviews and your believing in somebody saying the truth as opposed to a cheesy love story. I love books and I love romance, but I hated how romance is always fake. A few of my friends married their high school sweetheart, and even they can tell you it was a lot of really hard work. Harry Potter, which I really love the book series, married his high school sweetheart. So did Ron. If you read The Golden Compass, they fall in love at 12, and actually, eerily enough, have sex at 12. Nobody talks about that. But that was not my experience. I fell in and out of love, or I thought I did many, many times. And I think that's something that we can fight together as a community is ignorance. Kids don't know. Kids don't know what is appropriate touching. Kids are abused because they don't know what's happening and they trust adults. Teenagers get pregnant because they're more ashamed about buying condoms than having sex, really. Or kids have sex when they're not ready because they don't know any better and they're ashamed to ask and have an honest conversation. What should I feel? Is this okay? I think I'm the right age. Everybody else is doing it, I guess I should too. Some people are never ready. Some people don't care about sex. Some people are ready very young, younger than their parents are ready to accept. Some people are ready really late. We are a country and a population and a community of individuals. I cannot forget that I am a biologist, and as a biologist, I want to remind you that diversity is what makes us strong. If we were all the same and a plague would come, we would all die. Diversity is what is going to keep us alive, because we all react in different ways and we bring richness to our community and diversity. Leda's adventures are not over. There's going to be a series following up as Leda is a grown-up, and she's going to be a woman in science, and she's going to stand up for herself and trying to be happy in a very difficult world. And of course, she's going to make all possible mistakes. And so far, this has worked out for me. So I want to thank you all, and thank you for coming out tonight. And I just can't love you enough. Thank you.